Welcome to the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Today's date, April 17th, episode 141. And let's get started with a loaded set of tip-off topics with reviewing the playing games. First game to be played on Tuesday was Orlando with a 120-95 win over the Atlanta Hawks, easily covering the spread. The story here was the fact that Banchero and Wagner did not play well, but you got great performances out of Anthony Black, obviously Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., and others. And now that has Orlando now going to be taking on the Boston Celtics in the 2-7 matchup, what are obviously Atlanta going to play. And now for the 8th seed, we'll get to that game, who they're playing in a second. Next up, really exciting game that got exciting was the Warriors 121-116 win over Memphis. Obviously, you could talk about the play of Jimmy Butler, a.k.a. playoff Jimmy, a.k.a. Himmy Buckets, a.k.a. him, whatever you want to call it. When he gets to the playoff, Jimmy Butler is something else. And what it did is it allowed him to carry the game in stretches, and then Steph Curry with 2 daggers late as the Golden State Warriors, for the first time, remember, they were 0-3 before coming into this game. They're now won their first playing game ever. They are now the 7th seed where they take on Houston. We'll preview that matchup. Memphis will take on the winner of the game we'll talk about in about 30 seconds. Next up, Heat culture. They did it again. 109-90 in a game, folks, that really was not close at all. Miami was up 71, I think 47, if I'm not mistaken, at halftime. The lead got back to about 12 or 13 points, but Tyler Hero, 38 points, absolutely outstanding. Chicago continues to be what they are, which is just not a very good team. Miami Heat team that's now becomes extremely dangerous. Now they are going to play, obviously, Atlanta in the 9-10 game, or for the 8th seed in the East. Really quickly put, because I don't know if we'll get a chance to preview it, but I'm going to take Miami. I'll go ahead and get that win. We may preview it more in a little bit. Lastly, Dallas 120-106. This was a surprise to me. But Clay got hot. And the Sacramento Kings, with all of the all the scoring that they took on with Levine, with DeRozan, really could not get stops, and it looked completely disjointed. This is a Sacramento Kings team that underachieved, that led to De'Aaron Fox getting traded, that led to Mike Brown getting fired. And speaking of getting fired, breaking news came out right after the game, literally minutes after the game, that general manager Monte McNair has been mutually parted ways with the Sacramento Kings. McNair did a great job really getting a team back on the map. This was a team that was really, since the Rick Adelman days, early 2000s, with Big Nasty and Blighty Divac and White Chocolate. They were really going nowhere. But he did a great job turning it around. But I think the trade for De'Aaron Fox, but also the acquisitions of DeRozan and obviously Levine, kind of blew up in his face. Really quick note, Scott Perry, former executive with Sacramento, former GM of the Knicks, was just named to replace him, or will be replacing him, according to Sham Charania. Speaking of moves, a big move in college basketball, and a kid you may not know of, Xaivian Lee, this outstanding point guard out of Princeton, has transferred to play for Todd Golden in the University of Florida. Think about this. One of the best point guards in the portal, maybe the best, averaged about 17, 6, and 5.5. First team all Ivy League selection. Remember, folks, St. John's and Kansas. He got away from St. John's and Kansas, especially St. John's, where a lot of people thought that Rick Pitino was looking at him. What a pickup for Todd Golden and Florida, as obviously they're piping back into, the tri-state area. They kind of had success with Walter Clayton Jr., and now they're going to try and get it with Xaivian Lee. Speaking of transfers, some people are going or go to new schools. Some are leaving their current school, and this just happened literally in the last hour or so, as Auburn's Chad Baker-Maraza has entered the transfer portal. He released it himself, which I absolutely love, because you know how much I hate it when people try and drop news for the kids. Let them decide. And Baker-Maraza, who played a critical part in Auburn's team making it to the Final Four, now goes into the portal, which becomes really interesting because of the fact that, just so you know, The transfer portal closes on the 22nd. So this is not leaving Baker-Maraza a lot of time to find a new school. And listen, folks, I'm going to say this, and I want you to understand it. There are more kids going into the portal than there are scholarship spots. So now you have this situation where it's affecting the high school kids. We obviously now the JUCO kids get 4 years, no matter if they do 1 or 2 years at the JUCO level. So Baker-Maraza going in now, kind of late, tends you to think that maybe he already has his list of suitors. And I'm going to say this. I don't care what anybody says. The agents are making the calls. Chad Baker-Maraza's got an agent. And I guarantee you, he has already reached out to other schools and they knows where he is going or the list of schools. He's got to make a decision by the 22nd. One person that will not be going into the portal but will leave college is Colin Knippel. Colin Knippel is going to forego his last 3 years of eligibility. And listen, let's be honest. Colin Knippel, when he came in, everybody was talking about Cooper Flag. Colin Knippel's ability to shoot the ball. I almost think of him like a Dalton Connect type, right? But Dalton Connect played 4 years. He's cashing in, and he absolutely should, and go into the NBA draft where he was someone that was like a late, mid-first round pick to someone that you may think will be a top 10 pick. Congrats to Colin Knippel leaving Duke and going to the NBA draft. And speaking of going into the NBA draft, someone that dealt with the transfer portal and is cashing in is Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf was an outstanding player at Yale, was part of Dusty May's team at Michigan this year, led the team to the Big Ten tournament title and his Sweet 16 appearance at 7 feet and his ability to shoot the ball. This is a highly skilled big that's going to be in demand. Got to think about how the NBA has changed. We don't have back in the day when I used to watch when it was Ewing and Doherty and Shaq and Olajuwon and obviously Robinson. You keep right, Yao Ming, Robert Parrish, right? Where Bloody Divac, you throw it into the post, you go get a bucket. It's so much different now where positionless basketball, where the big men of Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis, right? Bigs that could step out and shoot the ball from 3. Even Anthony Davis, although I think his behind needs to sit his ass in the post a little bit more. Domantas Sabonis, all these guys that go ahead and shoot the ball from 3. This is where Danny Wolf becomes intriguing. Danny Wolf going to the NBA draft should be a lottery pick. Speaking of NBA, former Knick guard Charlie Ward, who, remember, folks, as good as he was at basketball, remember, Charlie Ward won the Heisman Trophy at Florida State, was an unbelievable quarterback. I remember when Charlie Ward was a quarterback and playing a point guard for the Knicks, and they said he was the best quarterback in New York. And that includes the Giants and the Jets at that time. But congrats to Charlie Ward being named the head men's basketball coach at FAMU, otherwise known as Florida A&M University. This is a good get. This is a Christian man, a good man, a smart basketball mind, looking to bring a school like FAMU on the map. I think Charlie Ward, very intellectual, smart brother, will do a good job at FAMU and obviously help fundraise and get money into that school. Coming up next, we'll get into our award tour. We'll look at playoff series. Let off with the Knicks versus the Pistons in the 6-3. Milwaukee versus the Pacers. We'll look at, obviously, Orlando and Boston. And then we'll kind of preview what could be the 1-8 matchup. We'll be back with our award tour, previewing the Eastern Conference playoffs after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 141. It's time to get into our award tour. We're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of just doing all the series, we're going to quickly preview Friday's 8-seed preview between Miami and Atlanta. Lines are out. Heat are laying a very slim 1-point spread, favorite on the road at Atlanta. And folks, I'm not shocked by it. I will never go against the Heat culture in a one-game series. No offense to Quinn Snyder, hell of a coach, but the way that what I saw out of Miami against Chicago, and the way I saw Atlanta be non-competitive, especially defensively, allows me to say in a one-game series, I'm going to take the team I trust more defensively, like I did with Miami before, right? Just like I did with Orlando beating Atlanta before, I'm going to lean on the better team defensively. Give me the Miami Heat on the money line to get the win and make the playoffs, which would set up them playing, obviously, Cleveland in the first round. Now let's head to the Eastern Conference playoffs, where the big series, where people are very high on this, is the 6-3 matchup between Detroit and New York. New York right now is a minus 420 favorite to win the series. Detroit is plus 330. Knicks spread is minus 2.5 games. Over under 5.5. I am a Knicks fan. I think this is going 6. I am of the belief that Cade will get 1. He may get 2. And the Knicks are in a fragile situation, folks, that if they don't play well and they don't dominate this series, the questions are going to linger as they get into the next series should they win against Boston. I don't care that Detroit won 3 out of the 4 games during the regular season. I know that Cade's a matchup problem. But if you start lining up the players, and let's just say you think Cade is first. Let's say you think he's first. Who's second? Probably Cat. Who's 3? Probably Brunson. Who's 4? OG? The Knicks have the better starting 5. I think Detroit's got the better bench, but here's the other thing. Tibbs owns J.B. Bickerstaff in the playoffs. Look what happened a couple of years ago. Knicks and 6. So I'll take it over 5.5 games, but I'll take Detroit plus 2.5 games because I think it goes 6 games. Next matchup, Milwaukee, Indiana, right? The Bucks are favored. This is probably should be the other way around. I think Indiana is going to be favored at minus 220, Bucks at plus 184. No problem. Listen. But in the line, the game series spread is minus 1.5. Breaking news we just got. It looks like Damian Lillard just got through taking the blood-thinning medicine. So he looks like he could be a go. Not in game 1 because they have to ramp up his activities. He's been out for so long. So I'm thinking maybe game 3 or game 4. That makes this really more enticing. Because if I'm Indiana, I want to get this series over as quickly as possible. Tyrese Halliburton has been absolutely fantastic. He's been playing like a top 20 player in the world. And it's interesting when we had Michelle Beadle and we talked about how they were just so wonky, I think it's the word she used, early in the year. But since the All-Star break, they've been fantastic. And they ended on a great run. And I really think, folks, I hate to say it, there's problems in Milwaukee. You got to remember, folks, what Giannis said going into the season. He wanted to make the Eastern Conference Finals. If he doesn't make the Eastern Conference Finals, I honestly believe that Giannis Antetokounmpo will be playing his last games as a Milwaukee Buck. And a team that is old, forget just Giannis, Dame, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, right? This is a team that doesn't have a lot of young players. Pat Connaughton's been in the league for a while, right? So when you look at this team, the breakup could be here, folks. And that includes Doc. I hate to throw dirt on the grave, but I'm doing it. Indiana minus 1.5 games. They win this. in 6 or less. And to me, I think Giannis has played his last season in Milwaukee. Let's head to the 2-7 matchup with, oh my God, look at these odds. And these odds are flipped, okay? The 2-7 matchup, and if we pull it up here, is Boston is a minus 8,000 favorite versus Orlando at plus 2,200. Series spread of minus 3.5 games because they are expecting a clean sweep. Over under 4.5. When you have a team like Boston who shoots so many threes, and you have a team like Orlando with Jamal Mosley, who does such a great job defending the three-point line, I am of the minority. I don't think this is a sweep. I think this goes 5 games. Now, here's the problem. Boston minus 3.5, I think last time I saw it was around minus 150. It wasn't even like, you know, or I'm sorry, Orlando plus 3.5. It was like minus 150. It's not even good odds. So to me, you got to try and nail the exact series score. I think when you look at Jamal Mosley and how they defend, look at the fact that they won 2 out of 3 games. I know. This last game was a 20-point win. No one cares about it. But there was a 108-104 win by Orlando early in the season in which they held Boston to shoot the ball 24% from the three-point line. They will do it once. It will go 4-1 Boston. So either go over 4.5 games or just do exact score 4-1 for the Celtics. Coming up next after the commercial break, we'll preview quickly Dallas versus Memphis for the 8 slot, and then we'll get into the matchups. Lakers versus the Timberwolves. We'll then get into Rockets and the Warriors, and then we'll end it up with the Nuggets versus the Clippers. We'll be back previewing the West after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 141. And let's continue our award tour as we preview the Western Conference playoff series. But before that, let's really quickly preview the 8 seed game between Dallas and Memphis. And Matt will probably have to tell me in my ear what the line is. But I'm going to say this, folks. I was stunned that Dallas pulled this off. Memphis is a 6.5 point favorite. And I'm like, damn. Because I had said if Dallas won, I was taking Memphis. But if Sacramento won, I was taking Sacramento. But if Matt remembers, I also said before the playoffs started that Memphis wasn't making the playoffs. So here I am with a conundrum. Like, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? The better coach is Jason Kidd. Better defensive team is Dallas. Guy with the best playoff experience, the guy is on Dallas, right? Clay, and obviously AD. I'm rolling the dice here. I'm going to take the 6.5 points. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line. Dallas finds its way into the playoffs. They are elite defensively. When you talk about at the rim where Ja wants to attack and you got AD, Gafford, and Lively all meeting you at the rim, that's a problem. And even PJ Washington is an underrated defender. Give me the Mavs plus the 6.5, sprinkle in the money line. They pull another upset. Let's head to the Western Conference playoffs where, here we go. Lakers, T-Wolves. Everybody's writing off the T-Wolves. Lakers minus 186 favorite, plus 156 for the Timberwolves, minus 1.5, over under 5.5 games. This is my upset special. I'm taking the Timberwolves. But probably the better way to take it is because we're underdogs. I'm going to take Minnesota plus the 1.5. I also think it goes 6 or 7. This is not going to be a short series. I think Ant's got a level that he has not shown yet. And I feel like Ant's going to show it in this playoff run. Got to remember, Luka broke his heart last year. And don't forget, Dallas plus 1.5 games, and it goes 6 or 7. So take the over 5.5. Next matchup. Have we ever seen such gross disrespect? I think one time, where a 7 seed is a huge favorite over a 2 seed. That's what we have here with the Warriors as a minus 184 favorite versus Alfair and Shingun, and Houston at plus 154. Golden State series spread minus 1.5, over under 5.5 games. Folks, this too is going 6 or 7. So if you don't have a lean either way, take over 5.5 games. Houston is far too good defensively. Far too good defensively to get blown out 4-0, 4-1. I don't care if they have experience. Their head coach has experience making deep playoff runs in Ime Udoka, and they have a point guard in Fred VanVleet that's won a title. So they're not completely foreign to all of this. There's a chance that the Rockets pull it off, but I can't tell you to go to the window and take it. So what I can tell you is if I think it's going 6 or 7, if you're leaning either way, take the over 5.5 games, or for a little bit more money, plus 1.5 games for the Houston Rockets. It will go at least 6. The most exciting series to me in the first round is Denver Clippers. It opened up as Denver as the favorites, and has now flipped. Clippers at a slight favorite, minus 118. Even money for Denver. Series spread minus 1.5. Simply put, folks, 7. This has got 7 games written all over it. I'm going over 5.5 games in this series. My only concern is, because you never know, what happens if Kawhi gets hurt? And I hate to say it, but the way that Kawhi has looked, the way Harden willed them to that win against Golden State at the end of the regular season, the Ibaka Zubac, who Michelle was right, should be the most improved player, should be in this. But I'm still taking the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. This has been your Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 141 for April 17th. For all things sports gambling, download that Sports Grid app, pregame, in-game, postgame, props, predictions, and more from the very best in the sports gambling industry. We'll be back on our normal day. We'll record on Monday. We'll recap the first games of the NBA playoffs and talk more basketball. Remember, it's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Good night.